My name is Nate. This is The Archive. We're looking at news, stories, studies, and research from the past week. Let's get into it. Hope your past week has been going well. Mine has, pretty nice week. Get a lot of stuff done. Looking forward to the next one, and, getting this episode out. So here it is. We're starting off strong with everyone's favorite topic. Recently, the Epstein files. If you don't know what those are, these are a collection of documents containing communications and logs from financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. If you don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is, he, financier, sex offender, arrested, I think multiple times in the past, but he ended up killing himself in his prison cell back in 2019. He has a lot of ties to significant and wealthy and affluent people, inviting him to his island, discussing certain finance-related things with them. And these files have like millions of pages of documents in them. There was the, what is it called? It's the Epstein Files Transparency Act. So it released a bunch of these files out into, not necessarily open, they're mostly redacted by the DOJ, but they have a lot of information pertaining to the communications that he had between a lot of different people. Some of the findings include people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and Bill Clinton being mentioned. And recently, a couple of lower important, I feel like it's bad to say lower importance because they're still like kind of important, but less mainstream or talked about people, including Howard Lutnick, he's the current Commerce Secretary, and Steve Bannon, the former chief strategist from Trump's first administration. Congress's response to this, they're kind of firing on all cylinders trying to release these documents. It was a huge heated thing that was back in, I think, November, that they wanted all these documents released in a certain kind of way, obviously to protect the privacy of the victims. They want the names of the offenders or the people who are implicated to be released. And this is all, again, under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Eventually, all of these files will be unredacted for all of Congress to view, but right now they're kind of going in at piecemeal. Some of the documents are able to be reviewed by I believe it's the House Judiciary Committee. But additionally, Congress has also subpoenaed or asked certain people, high-profile people, to testify on these matters. Most notably, Bill and Hillary Clinton. They have agreed to testify. The House wanted to put contempt charges on them, contempt of Congress charges on them for not wanting to show up, but they eventually did show up. They have a deposition on the 27th of February, and the Clintons also want a public testimony to be released. Additionally, one of the high-profile associate that was with Epstein, like through most of his tenure, and when people are saying that they were involved with the sex trafficking, the abuse of minors, the sexual abuse, assault, stuff like that, Ghislaine Maxwell. She was seen by the House Oversight Committee. She was subpoenaed on February 9th. That was a Monday. But she did not testify. Before she was able to give any kind of testimony or anything, she wants clemency or a pardon from Trump. So, we'll see where that one goes. I think Trump is mulling the idea of wanting to give her a pardon, but I think that would be very wildly unpopular of him to do so. So we'll see where that goes. Additionally, I kind of wanted to circle back on like the redactions piece of this. And I think that there's major issues with regards to this. There's multiple redacted versions of the same document with different types of redactions. So a person got like a 5-page document and then another person got the same 5-page document. They're redacting in different areas and releasing those same documents. The Epstein associates, the people who are associated with him or the people who he's had relationships with, that these people's names are redacted, possibly for the sake of maintaining privacy. Some of these documents are public, but some of the personal information of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein were not redacted, and they were released publicly. So a lot of that information is kind of circling online, including names, identifiable information, as well as photos. I've not looked at those photos. That I'm not going to touch that kind of stuff. And Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, was seen by the House Judiciary Committee on the DOJ oversight of the Epstein files. She was very much grilled by Democratic House representatives, as well as, I forgot his name, the Kentucky Senator Thomas Massie. Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie. Again, most of this time was mostly spent on the Epstein files, them grilling her. There's some performative bits in there. Bondi used a good portion of time to talk about the Trump administration's achievements and kind of taking away from the root of the case, mostly talking about the economic achievements. And there were many insults hurled between her and Congress. I didn't even know this. I saw a bunch of memes posted on Twitter and Reddit about oh, this thing isn't that bad because the Dow is over 50K. And I had no idea what that was about until I learned that this was about Pam Bondi. She literally said in the middle of this testimony, this 5-hour something testimony, where she just says that, I don't know why we're talking about this. We should highlight the achievements that the Trump administration has done, like the Dow being over 50K. And it's you're watering down the actual subject matter of why you're being called here. You're being called to talk about DOJ oversight into what I think many people would say, and probably what I would say, a botched investigation redaction into these millions of Epstein files. I think it is understandable, and she kind of deflected in a sense, saying that, oh, Merrick Garland, the prior administration, the Biden administration had these documents as well, and they didn't do anything about it. And that's understandable. These things, have a high degree of importance, and any victims of this situation deserve justice, and they deserve a proper investigation. And waiting so long probably takes away from that. But she's the person that's in charge now. She has a very, an important role, and she has the decision-making framework to make sure that that the investigations are handled properly and indictments are rolled out properly. I think with this redactions, the poor way that her team has handled redactions, it speaks poorly on her because she's the one that's overseeing all of this. But with this, I guess the more mainstreaming of a lot of these Epstein files, obviously Jeffrey Epstein, he killed himself in 2019. But this is a good example of what I like to talk about when it comes to these big events. You can't have something that's just immediate. That'll just never happen. I can't say that I wanted this thing yesterday. That's just not realistic. This is a very good example of waiting for something that'll come to fruition. Even though it's kind of boiled over into a sense that the DOJ is handling this kind of stuff wrong, you have people in Congress who are committed towards getting to the truth, digging into the investigations, and looking into the people who are responsible. Obviously, this kind of stuff takes time for files to be released and investigations and indictments to occur. And it is the responsibility of the Trump administration and Congress to take these files seriously and issue those investigations and indictments. I think, this just seems obvious, and I think most, if not all, people would agree. Should the people implicated in doing crimes in the files be charged? Yes. From my understanding of the files, a lot of this just seems to be Epstein had a relationship with certain people. So it's not necessarily that they're implicated in doing crimes. It might be more so that, oh, they're implicated in having a relationship with her. In order to build a case to have an investigation and charge someone with a crime, obviously there needs to be some kind of documentation of it. You can have witness testimony, and obviously the victims of this should be heard and they should be listened to, but you need to take that into account with any other kind of evidence there to be able to build a case. Whether or not those millions of files have that kind of damning evidence to be able to put people down for a long period of time for the crimes, that remains to be seen. I want to wait until the very end of this investigation. I don't really care how long it takes. People need to be charged. Again, that just depends on what the content of these documents are and whatever else is, I guess, located or identified within the files. Again, it's millions of files. It'll take a long time to be able to delve in, and we don't even know if that's the end of it. There might be even more. Next on the list of, I'm going to say government, like kind of botching things. I wanted to talk about refusing illegal orders. So back in November, Senator Mark Kelly and 5 other members of Congress released a video reminding military servicemen that they can and must refuse illegal orders. I think a lot of this kind of had to do with the ICE stuff that was going on at the time. I don't think that this was, I think that the Renee Good and the Alex Preddy killings were, January, I think at this point. But I think people were thinking that the ICE, not the raids, like kind of the raids, and the ICE operations in a lot of these cities were a bit overblown. So again, these 5 or 6 senators or members of Congress released that video saying that military people, you're allowed to refuse illegal orders. The immediate response from Trump was calling these members of Congress seditious. He wanted them arrested and he wanted them put to death, and not wanting them. I think in his not tweets now, it's his truths on Truth Social, called them seditious, and because of that, there's a consequence of death afterwards. It's like, this is the typical like kind of Trump like overblowing, like posting whatever he wants on Twitter, but it doesn't make it all the less like, man, he thinks that for being seditious, you should be put to death. Pam Bondi and Stephen Miller, they seem to be agreeing on at least the seditious like kind of points. Pete Hegseth, I don't know what it is, chair of the Department of War now, secretary of the Department of War, I think that's what it is. He wanted to lower Mark Kelly's rank from him, but this was rejected by a federal judge. And again, Kelly pushed back on this immediately, went to court. Federal judge said, yeah, you can't like demote this guy's retirement rank just because of what he said. And federal prosecutors led by, I think this is DC federal judge. I don't remember what her title is, but Jeanine Pirro, she used to have a reality TV show. She charged those congressmen for causing military interference. But again, this was rejected by a grand jury. I think with this, it's obviously a big blow to the Trump administration who, want to suppress any kind of dissidents or bad press or PR about them. They're obviously continuing to try to push past this and I guess pressure any kind of legal limitations that they might have to do what they want. It doesn't seem like that they're being successful right now. Like they've been stopped in, I'll say this, like they've been stopped in like the ICE raids a few times. They've been stopped with the tariffs. They've been stopped with, again, charging these members of Congress with sedition or causing military interference. But I don't think that that's necessarily stopping them. They're just keeping doing on it. They just keep doing it because they're just going to blow past them. I think it seems to me that they're trying to just like overwhelm the system with all the things that they're doing that the system's not able to respond, and they're able to just do what they want for as long as they want. Whether or not that's the actual case, I don't really know. In terms of like the actual illegal orders precedent, I was reading that the military have an oath towards the Constitution. They don't have an oath towards the executive. They don't have an oath to Congress. They have an oath to uphold the Constitution. This is per the Uniform Code of Military Justice. An order is lawful unless it is contrary to the Constitution, the laws of the United States, or lawful superior orders, or for some other reason beyond the authority of the official issuing it. Kind of reads to me. I mean, it seems like a lot of legal jargon to me as well. But again, if they perceive, and it seems that, what is it? I think, I kind of want to say the word like court-martialed, but a military court will review whether or not a military service person like refuses an order or not, whether that law was legal or illegal, and deal with them appropriately. So again, good news in terms, I think that this is good news in terms of freedom of speech and like advising people what the law is. And it's a good thing that the Trump administration was shut down here. Whether or not that they'll follow up with, some kind of like stupid backdoor thing that law that contradicts everything else. We'll see. Again, they have a history of doing this. They have a history of doing this with ICE, with tariffs, with this. They also have that with, I think, they tried to do it with like the 2020 election too. But again, they were very unsuccessful. We'll see whether or not that stops them in the future. Couple of small stories I want to talk about. Small boosts, not necessarily good boosts, but for both of them, but boosts nonetheless. I'll start with a good one first. The BLS jobs report. So last month I reviewed this. Last month it was about 50,000 jobs that were created with an unemployment rate of 4.4%. It looks like that this past month in January, 133,000 jobs were added, like far surpassing anyone's expectations. And as well, the unemployment rate remained about steady at 4.3%. Interestingly, federal jobs decreased by 34,000. Whether or not this is an example of, the Trump administration cutting a lot of the bureaucracy at work, or people might be dissatisfied, remains to be seen, but interesting nonetheless. Second story of small boosts is there's been recent measles outbreaks occurring recently. I was looking at some of the CDC data, and it saw a little bit of a spike in the, I guess like last year and a good amount this year. So yearly measles cases in the U.S. had occurred 2.2 thousand in 2025 and 900 so far in 2026, which is pretty huge because we're only not even a sixth of the way through 2026 this year. Some other spikes historically included 1.2 thousand in 2019 and 600 in 2014. So you can see that it's kind of gradually increased from that period. It's obviously not nearly as high as like the peak of 1990 with 27,000 cases, or when the measles vaccine was first licensed in 1963 at around 500,000 cases. Obviously, like the historical trends, like with the invention of the vaccines, led to a decrease in the incidence rates for measles. But you're seeing like a bit of a spike that's, I would say, outside of like the norm of like what you would expect a trend to be. Like I think after the invention of vaccines, it pretty much like flatlined. And now you've seen like some small bumps that are, a few degrees higher than what it has been outside of those bumps. I think that causes a little bit of issues. I think for the measles cases, this has recently mostly been affecting children, possibly due to the increase of vaccine hesitancy with the rollout of this new administration and some of the popularity of like the MAHA, Make America Healthy Again movement. It's obviously, again, relatively small in contrast to historical highs, but it is a significant increase over the past few decades. All right. And I'm like blitzing through this. I love this, and I'm trying to. My friend watched my last one. He keeps mentioning that I keep using the words and all the time. So I'm trying to move a little bit slower and take that into account. And I'm also stammering. So last on my list, I want to talk about the Winter Olympics. I haven't been watching them, but they started on Friday, the 6th of February, and they're going to end Sunday on the 22nd. They're being held in Milan, Italy. Looks like the U.S. is in third place with medals overall. Obviously, I want, just like any good American, we want a U.S. sweep. Like, we need to win all the time. So we're behind two countries. We're in third place, but there's still, a full week left of events. There are some pretty interesting highlights that I saw or were forwarded to me. One of which was a Czech Charlie Chaplin-looking figure skater, doing a really impressive display on the ice. I thought it was pretty cool. There was an accusation of cheating in the curling competition between Canada and Sweden. I believe it was Canada that was accused of cheating, and they're kind of yelling at each other, yelling expletives. It's pretty fun. It's pretty funny to watch, and if you actually look at the video, you can see the guy like almost touching the curling puck. I don't know what that thing's called, but very clearly against the rules. Apparently, you have to use just the top handle to be able to push it forward, and again, he used his finger to just like kind of tap it a little bit to go forward. And last on this was the U.S. bobsledding team. Their chances got absolutely ruined. They started going down the hill, and I think it's like 4 people on a bobsled at once, and they all have to go down at once. Obviously, the weight helps with the ice in terms of building up speed and momentum to be able to go down faster. They all tried to mount at once, and only the first person got on. The rest, I think they were taking like a little bit of curve, and the rest of them just like kind of flew off. Again, really funny. I found this guy on Instagram that was talking in an Irish accent and just laughing at that. So really funny video if you want to give it a watch. But I think that is all that I have for right now. Obviously, I don't even know if you could see it on the table, but I got the mission collection money right here. So because I was running out of fives, I turned 4 of them into a 20. So I got 5, 10 plus 20. That makes 30, which I believe is the correct amount. And for this episode, I'm going to put down an additional 5. I think we're getting close to a point where, I think $50 seems like a pretty good donation to some kind of charitable organization. So I'm going to start looking for those, see which one I think is, worthy. Not worthy. Worthy is a stupid word. I think a good organization to be able to donate money to. And again, I'll share it here. I'll post links to it. So hopefully you can put down some money for them as well. Always nice to give. Always nice to be charitable and kind to others and giving to others. So hopefully I can expound upon that and persuade other people to do that as well. But again, that's all I have time for. I really appreciate you watching and listening. Please give this a like, subscribe, comment, share, all that fun stuff. I hope you have a very nice start to your week, and I will catch you in the next episode. See ya.